Hi everyone, Gregor here from BassTheWorld.com, and if you're watching this video, that means we just hit 100 million views on our channel, which is of course amazing. And of course, this would not be possible without you or viewers, so thank you very much for sticking with us, for watching the videos for, I don't know, we've been doing this for like 10 plus years, and I really appreciate like everyone who has joined in the meantime and watched watched our videos. What I thought I would like to do, my buddy Patrick Hunter released 1 or 2 weeks ago a studio tour where he went through his entire room and showed all the basses and the amps and the pedals that he had, which gave me a little bit of anxiety to think about making this in this room, because this is a bit more stuff here, but I think you deserve it. I think it's time to do this. We've never done this before, so let's get started. This right here is my work. We will actually shoot this in one take, that's the plan. So let's see how that goes. And now we do the cut and I go over there. No, just kidding. This is my workbench. My Arbeitsplatz in German. I'm working on an iMac. I'm using Final Cut. I'm using Logic for audio. This is the stuff I'm working with. I have Adam A7X monitors, which I really love. They sound super clean, very tight in the... I love those. I had smaller ones before. Those are the newer ones. And yeah, I mean, they are not really expensive even, but I really like them. But that's not what we're talking about here. Let's go to more stuff. Element 64 audio interface from Apogee, 4 channels, brilliant stuff. I love it. I've been using Apogee from day one since I've started recording, and those came out a couple of years ago. I love them. This is just a really good interface. Here's a Zoom B6. This is just a pedal I'm working on right now. There's a review about to be released in next weeks, as you will see. Here are my headphones, Audio-Technica ATH M50X. I mean, most of you will know them, those with the cables that you can detach. Those are, in my opinion, the best headphones you can buy for acceptable money. Let's call it like this. I have a few of those, but this is the set that I'm personally using. So let's, I think we got this part covered. Let's go over to the... This was definitely not a cut, this was, you were just blinking with your eye, so that's what happened. So here is the workbench area. Here's where I do all the stuff. I work on basses, I assemble pedal boards, these kind of things. Let's just start over here. This is my... Those are cables. This is the, what's it called? The Quad Cortex. Fantastic modular preamp thing. I mean, you've probably seen the demo, it's an incredible thing. I'm using this sometimes when I want to create amp sounds for recording and I'm too lazy to use an actual amp. This is just fantastic. Here's my hi-fi system, just a cheap, bad hi-fi system, which only exists that I can listen to this CD, which I got as a present from my brother, which is fantastic. I don't know nothing about this guy's great album. Funky stuff from France. Underneath we have... This is the, by the way, if you never want to buy covers for your things, just use t-shirts that don't fit anymore, which I have plenty of. Look at me. This is our, this is our recording station here. Vovox cables, XLR cables. We're running a BAE 1073 DMP. That's a Neve-based preamp. Parallel to this Ready Tube DI, and those together sound absolutely fantastic. And this, they're always running at the same time, and that's what you hear on like 9 out of 10 in our videos. Except if a pedal has an XLR out which has a distinct sound, then of course it doesn't make sense to use the preamps. Then we go straight into the interface. But I mean, in most videos you hear this system, those 2 preamps. And now let's go to this area. Usually this is where I have a bit of a bass bench where I can assemble basses, restring them, do stuff. I mean, we have to do stuff here all the time with basses, obviously. But right now, as you can see, there's a pedal board project on the rise. I have these pedal boards. I have a bunch of those. This is my current band board, which is being assembled, where I'm just figuring out what I want to use. Then we have... Let me go in for here. This is like the small one. This is supposed to become a studio board. Oh, I always keep forgetting what this brand is called. This is really embarrassing. Temple Audio Design. I'm very sorry to Temple Audio Design. I keep forgetting your brand name. I mean, I love those pedal boards. They're super light, and I really love the system because you can very neatly make all the cables disappear, and I love that. And we have a pedalboard project coming up with different pedalboard builds. And yeah, you can see a little bit of the preparation here. So since I have to show you all the pedals, let's go through the pedals that we see here. Reinhold BP2, an absolutely amazing preamp for, I would say, for jazz basses, P-basses, mainly for, I mean, you can use this with modern basses, but it's absolutely fantastic. And this pedal is actually the reason why we actually have this pedalboard built, because I wanted to have it on my board. My board was already full, so I had to reach out to Temple Audio and start a pedalboard project. Amazing pedal, get one. This is Roger Mayer Voodoo Bass 2. This is 2 in English. This is a very rare to find overdrive, which absolutely sounds amazing. I'm using this in my band in combination with an SVT Classic from Ampeg, and this is an absolute, it's a winner. Jupiter FX Jive, this is the kind of pedal that you use to just get your sound a little bit more forward, a bit more to the forefront of the band. It's just a good pedal. Everyone should have at least one, and it should be on every board. And if you only have one pedal, have this one. I just bought this. I love this pedal. I used to have a few of those before, but some of them broke, and then I was told that I was too lazy to repair them. Just the normal Dunlop Crybaby bass wire, which I think it's my favorite bass wire. I think it's the most affordable that you can buy, and I think it's also the best, so that's really good. Peterson Strobo Stomp, really old pedal. I think an absolutely fantastic tuner. I love Peterson tuners. They actually sent me like the current one, this is what they look now, have much bigger displays. Actually, but those old ones just work just as well, so that's fine. Those will definitely end up in this pedalboard project. Then the Ampex Zap Blaster, my absolute favorite Octaver. It's just the nicest, cleanest octave sound that I know. It's none of these synth kind of octaves. It's just your bass sound an octave lower. It's really nice, and I use it mostly with very little octave and just to add a little bit of lower end, and it's absolutely fantastic pedal. If you ever find one, buy it. I mean, they're expensive, but if you find one, buy it anyways. If it's like a reasonable price, of course. So, more pedals. Universal Audio, straight up pedalboard. Those are actually not my pedals. Those still belong to Universal Audio, but they keep forgetting to tell me where to send this back, so I have this here for months. Universal Audio, call me. I mean, Vintage Deluxe from Darkglass. I think this is the very first version without the switches, and in my opinion, it's the best one because it has this era control. Actually, my favorite, or one of my favorite Darkglass pedals, besides the B7K Ultra. Then we have a Maleko Phase, very simple phaser. I got this as a gift for Christmas. Really cool, very small. Might end up on the pedalboard just because it's so small and I don't really have many small pedals. Polypilo Octave from MXR. I haven't even tried it yet, to be honest. I just got it back yesterday from my guitar player who tried it first. I mean, it's an Octaver. We had a demo on the channel. Just watch it. I think it's good. Singular Sound Beat Buddy. This is a cool... Give me a second. Everyone's dying. It's really hot in here. Beat Buddy is just like a drum machine for your pedalboard, and I think it sounds fairly good. And I mean, it's fun for practice and for just noodling around at home. Then we have the Warlow from Jupiter FX. It's basically a big muff. As you will see later in this video, I'm a huge fan and friend of the big muff. Alone on this table we have a bunch. My favorite overdrive, distortion, fuzz, whatever kind of pedal. And this is a German-made version, which is, if you dial the tone low, then you get a bass boost, which is, I mean, this is a weapon, actually. I mean, I tried this yesterday in rehearsal, and my drummer, like, after 1 second, switch it off immediately. And he was so overwhelmed by the pressure coming out here. So that's a good sign. So if you want to fight your drummer, get one of those. This is the only guitar pedal that I have, but I don't use for bass. This is a guitar, I mean, you can use it for bass. It's a Uni-Vibe called Tube Vibe, comes from, well, this Effect Rode. I don't know, I think they're from Greece also. It doesn't matter. It's a Tube Uni-Vibe. It sounds absolutely fantastic on guitar. Otherwise, I would probably have sold it, but I love it so much on guitar. And sometimes we do recorded guitar, so it's good it's here. Big Muff. Let's start with this one. This is a triangle big muff, or like the reissue. This is basically the very first big muff that was ever made by Electro Harmonix, and this is the reissue version, which sounds... I mean, I've never played the original, but I've played all the other originals, or I own all the other originals, and they're spot on with the replicas, so I'm imagining this is too. Amazing pedal. And this is the big muff that I use for synth sounds in combination with octavers and these kind of things, because it had a very interesting high-endish brutal distortion. Really cool. We've reviewed this just very recently. Origin Effects bass rig. This is the 64 black panel, the Fender Bassman, basically in a pedal. Absolutely fantastic DI out. I mean, if you love tube sounds but you don't want to carry around a tube amp, this is your pedal. And there's another one, which is this one. This is basically the Ampeg version. It's called Super Vintage, and this is the Fender version. I mean, at the end, everyone should kind of have both, because they're amazing, and at some point in your life you will need it. This is the op amp big muff. This is the version 5, again the reissue. This is the big muff where you can switch off the tone, which is very interesting, because the tone sometimes is very confusing, annoying on big muffs, and you can just switch it off and maybe form the sound a little bit with an EQ, and then this is absolutely fun. But let's talk more about this when we get to the originals later. Version 7, the Russian big muff. Obviously, this is the most popular for bass players because it has the most low end, definitely. Not my favorite though, but I mean, it's here. Hamstead Soundworks Subspace. This is a pedal we reviewed a couple of months ago, and I'm blown away by how good this is. This is a pedal good for low gain, good for high, especially for high gain, I would say. It's just, it doesn't matter if you're playing an active or passive bass, it just makes everything incredibly good sounding. And I wanted to have this on my band board, but this will end up on the recording board because it's so versatile and so good. I just want to have it on there. So let me do this once more again. It's really hot in here. Let's take up all our clothes. This doesn't belong to me, it belongs to my guitar player. I haven't tried it yet. Remy Ricochet. It's some sort of a Remy in a pedal. I don't know yet. Same as this, Green Rhino from Way Huge. It's an overdrive. I haven't also tried yet. And this is really cool. This is something I love. I mean, I just said this is kind of the coolest wah, which I still think it is. But this one here is super interesting because it has this fuzz engine built in. It has different wahs. That means you can have one for the fuzz sound, one for normal wah sounds, or one for funky wah, and one for brutal wah, or whatever. I mean, I've tried it out in the rehearsal. It's actually a really good pedal. So great job, Dunlop, with this. Then we have something that just came out few weeks ago. It's already dirty. Limited edition JHS overdrive preamp. There will not be a demo. I just bought this for myself because I was interested. I've never played one of those. I mean, they just came out, but they're based on the 250 preamp from DoD. Took a moment. And yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, Josh, the guy who, the owner of JHS pedals, I think he has the best music YouTube channel that is out there. Besides ours, of course. But no, I mean, those guys are absolutely amazing. And they make interesting pedals, and I'm a fan. And I mean, they make so good videos that they get me to buy their stuff, which doesn't even work for bass. So, I mean, they're marketing genius, obviously. And then we have this you might have seen before. We've reviewed this, the Caveman BP1, which is a Neve-based bass preamp. Basically the same one that we're using as our channel strip, just as a pedal format, or I mean, based on the same design. And then there's this, the Kali 76 from Origin, which is based on the, the 76. I mean, I'm so bad with 11, 10, 76, 11. I'm so bad with those numbers. It's based on this one compressor that everybody wants to have and wants to use. And this is also built in the pedal, and I've just used both together, and this, I mean, this is like an absolutely professional recording setup that you can have in front of your amp, which is absolutely amazing. I love this. It sounds really good. I have to do some more experiments, but yeah, those are those. And one last thing, which I really love, the MXR Isobrick, which is a very small power supply with 5 outputs. And this is usually the one that I have on my band board because I have 6 pedals on there, and that works. One more thing I definitely need to show you. This is, I haven't used it in a while, but this is actually the longest or the longest period of time I've owned a piece of gear is actually this amp. I bought this before I started this whole music career thing in a shop in Frankfurt, and this amp fascinated me so much that I actually got a job at this shop, because it was, when they sold something, I knew this was something special and I wanted to work there. This is the PJB, or Phil Jones briefcase amp, 100 watt amp with 5-inch speakers, which sounds, you wouldn't believe how good it sounds. I firmly believe that this is the best practice amp that has ever been built. I mean, they make a lot smaller amps now from PJB, but those are all neodyme and very light. And if you watch my videos, you know what I feel about those. This is the heavy version with the old Piranha speakers, and this one is just like a Glockenklang and very, very small. And fascinating is that with those small speakers, you can achieve one thing which no other amp has ever given me. You can really play in a quiet room volume, and it sounds like a full bass, when this is the only amp that I know that does that. So PJB, please let me review this at some point. I love this amp so much, and we should. I mean, I've mentioned it now. Let's go over there. Now we're getting to basses. Things are getting a little bit more interesting. First of all, before I forget it, those stands are from König & Meyer, or K&M, probably known in other countries of the world. Just the best multiple bass or guitar stands that are out there. I mean, they're really expensive, but they're so well made. And yeah, you will see throughout the studio we have a bunch of those, or I have a bunch of those. And just at this point, thanks for König & Meyer for sponsoring me. And now let's start with the basses. Fender Mustang. It's just a very weird short scale bass, which doesn't sound like a bass at all. It sounds, wow, what happened here? It sounds like more like a guitar, a bit lower, like a baritone guitar. But sometimes for like pick stuff, for disco sounds, this is just the right bass. I like it a lot. Then we have another short scale, Gibson EBO. I've reviewed this before, 1969, with a DiMarzio pickup in here, also very old. And I actually, last time I talked about this bass, I told you that I'm a little bit disappointed about this pickup, but mainly because I like stuff more original, and I would love to have an original pickup in here. But actually 2 weeks ago I went to Frankfurt to a shop who sells a lot of vintage guitars and basses, and they had exactly the same bass there, and I got to play it with the original bridge, the original pickup, and I'm now so glad I have this, because actually it sounds a lot better. So that's a good bass. Number 3, the Sun Mustang. Someone converted this to fretless. I bought it on eBay. This bass saved me a lot of money, because back then I was on the way to buy actually a Fender custom shop bass, and then I just bought this a couple of days before, and then brought it to the music shop, tried it out, tried the custom shop, and there was just no way for me to buy this custom shop anymore when we have a 180 euro bass or something like that, and all from the 80s, which sounds just as good. So this is an absolutely fantastic P bass. We don't using it as much because it's fretless, obviously, but I mean, when we're using mostly Frank, he's playing it and always sounds amazing. Here we have the Yamaha Attitude, which is the Billy Sheehan signature bass, the 10th anniversary version, which came out in 2000. They even have like real fingerprints of Billy Sheehan on the bass. I don't think anyone would do this anymore today. It's wild. I mean, it's always the same one, but I believe it's his own original fingerprint, which is kind of wild. Definitely made in a different time. This is an incredible P bass. I mean, I'm not sure if it's still a P bass because it's so different. The neck goes really fairly deep into the body. It has a lot of sustain. Has a very different sound from a normal P bass, but the neck shape is absolutely amazing, even though I never like lacquered necks like this, but this is just an absolutely fantastic bass, which I will take to my grave, or not, we will see. This is a bass I've never talked about on this channel. Maybe I just shouldn't. No, I mean, this is obviously a Fender custom shop bass. It's even a master build. I recently had it modified and installed the Kloppmann pickup. There's a story behind this bass, which is kind of a long story, and it's a very fascinating story, but I don't feel ready to tell it yet, so we will save this for another point. However, this one has flats now, so there's a chance you will actually get to hear this a bit more often in future in our videos. First 5 basses. This is actually my camera. This is a Panasonic Lumix GH5 with some lens. There's a 25 on the lens, so for those who... I believe it's a 50mm, oder? 35? 25. 25 millimeters. It's because of the crop sensor, but it looks like other cameras have like 50 millimeter lenses, and then it looks exactly the same. I mean, this is just I believe this was like the first DSLR cameras which was kind of made for video, so that's why I bought it and I like it. Right now we are filming with, what is that?
Sony A7S III.
Sony A7S III. That's the camera of my camera operator Christian, which you can't see, but he's obviously here. This guy. Yeah, let's go to the cool stuff. Bergantino 40 HP, absolutely amazing Class D amp, which I love. Underneath we have a little bit of a project. I bought this a couple of weeks ago and wanted to make like an unboxing video, because this is kind of the amp of my dreams when I was like a starting out bass player. I always used to play SWR, and the Mo bass was like the star in the sky of SWR. It has these really cool effect sections in with synth and subwave and overdrives and a chorus, and even like an EQ in between these effect sections. It's a super professional amp. But it's so complex that I actually, when I wanted to make like a spontaneous demo and show you what it sounds like, just everything was bad. So I stopped it. And I mean, we will make a decent demo of this amp at some point, but not today, obviously. Over here we have, this is my amp. I mean, if I have to pick one amp which I want to, I mean, I will probably take the small PJB because it's a lot lighter, but for professional work, this is, in my opinion, the best bass amp that exists. It's just an old school Class A, B, whatever they're called amp, like a transistor amp. It's super clean. It's like an hi-fi amp that shows you every little detail of sounds that you can get. You can disengage the EQ, you can disengage everything, and basically just have an input gain and an output volume. And this is, for me, for this job, an essential important amp, because it's a reference amp. So when I play a bass or I want to try a pedal, this amp will show me every single flaw, every single like good thing about the bass. I mean, all the little details will be open. And this is the box or the cabinet that goes with it. It's called the Bass Art Classic cabinet. 15-inch speaker. We have a horn up here, and we have a bass vent, or however it's called. It's just a fantastic box. Here's the second one, as you can see right next to it. But this one is actually not real. This is actually a fake cabinet that was built to me by Glockenklang, because I needed, at some point we had a lot of 8x10 cabinets in the studio, and we had this huge amp wall in the background, and this Glockenklang amp was always so small, and I asked them, hey, if you want to have your amp seen, then I need another one of those cabinets, and they sent me a fake one. It doesn't even have like a control panel on the back. It's really funny. But, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you own when you run a YouTube channel. A lot of things in this room that we will find a few more just exist for the coolness of it, and not really for that we're using it. Before we go to the next amp, I definitely need to talk about those cables. I mean, I know a lot of bass players and general musicians find it ridiculous to talk about cables, but these people are ignorant. Those are Rheingold cables. This is a German company, and actually those thin and kind of, I mean, I wish they were a little bit more flexible, but I guess it's just not possible with this material. Those cables sound just better. I mean, if you don't believe me, come here and try it. Don't come here. Go somewhere else where they have those and try them out. You will be blown away. I believe you. If you have a developed ear for sound details in your bass, and you bring your own setup there and you try one of those cables, you will be blown away. This is the bass cable that you go into a pedal board or into an amp, and these kind of cables are recommended to go from a pedal board into an amp. I mean, not from a bass, not from a different kind of source. And those are a little more flexible. So those are the two main type of cables we're using in the studio. I have a good bunch of those. Thanks to Rheingold for sponsoring us for many years. It's just the best cables. I know they're expensive. I mean, there will be a lot of complaints in the comments, I'm aware. But, I mean, try it out. This is an old Fender Bassman 50 watt with the 2x15 cabinet. It's just an absolutely fantastic tube amp. It's the kind of amp that I would use for soul music, for these nice, warm, cleaner sounds, not necessarily for drive tones. I mean, that works as well, but this is the kind of tube amp that I love for like these warm, rich, fat sounds. Absolutely fantastic. I bought this in the Netherlands in a shop a few years ago, and yeah, never looked back. I love this. maybe before we go to there are more amps, let's talk about the lights real quick, because I guess there are a few video guys amongst you who might be interested in this stuff. We're using Aperture lights here. Those are the 120D and the 300D Mark II, both Mark IIs. And we're using them with the light domes and the honeycombs here. Over there is another 300 with the lantern instead of the light box. And this is basically, we're using it right now to light up the room, and those are to make accents. And then we have a bunch of smaller ones that we use to make smaller accents. But yeah, for those who are interested in this kind of stuff, we're using Aperture is the light company. Next amp, the He-Man amp. I just saw this on like the German version on Craigslist years ago when I was looking for some things to fill the studio with to make it look cool, and this is the coolest looking amp that was there. It was super cheap, and I have to confess, I have it for at least 3 years. I've never tried it to this day. But yeah, I mean, why would I? It's a 50 watt guitar amp, so there's no point. Underneath we have an Ashdown 8x10 ABM cabinet with this cool red front cloth. Usually there's a CDM30 Ashdown amp on top, but I've borrowed this to a friend right now. Actually, I've bought a lot of stuff that I own to friends all the time, so there's not everything is here. I've tried to gather everything for this video so I can show you all the stuff, but obviously not everything could come here. This is an amp I also love. If you know those old Ampeg B15 combos, which are like the most legendary recording combos, this is basically this combo as an amp. It's called the B25B. Those were made in the 70s, or I think started in the late 60s. And yeah, it's basically same amp, just in a head. You have 2 channels, and it comes with this 2x15 cabinet, which sounds absolutely fantastic, even though it's very thin and very light. It's a little bit confusing how light it is actually, but I love the sound. I love this combination. And that's it, I think, for the amps. Oh, actually, there's one thing. I think we should do this. Yesterday, I received a package with this inside. This is a new pedal that just came out, and this is so ridiculous that I think maybe we should include it in this video. So let's open the weirdest pedal box there has ever been. I hope this works. So let's do this. This is generally the first time I'm trying this as well. So this is what the bass sounds like, and then we have. It sounds really good. We have dry and wet. Let's go to the dry mode. I mean, you get. I have no idea why I bought this pedal. It's the fart pedal. They had a. I don't know why this even exists, but I saw it on Kickstarter, and I thought, I mean, I'm a YouTube guy. Guys like me need this kind of stuff. So I don't know what we're going to do with it. It's the fart pedal. It farts. I think this is something most people actually need. So I don't know. Basses. Let's talk about this bass real quick. Obviously, my number one, my most important bass that we have here in the studio. This is Sandberg California TT4 masterpiece in tobacco sunburst with Klopman pickups, no knobs. Actually, it was built like this. It never had knobs. Actually, I ordered it like this. Also has a battery compartment and an output that we don't use, because this was supposed to become an active bass until I got this body in my hand and said, no, that's mine, and it will be passive. The best Sandberg I've ever played, that maybe one of the best Sandbergs ever built, and I'm so fascinated by this bass, and so are many of viewers. We're getting questions all the time about this bass, what it is, and if you can buy it. And actually, I mean, if you're following this channel for a while, you will be aware that we're working actually with Sandberg on making this a thing. And lucky for you, I just a few days ago got the first prototype. You might be surprised what it looks like, because it looks nothing like mine. And that is because this will actually not be like a signature model. It will be like a whole series of basses. And the problem is mine is a masterpiece, and those are really expensive. I believe if you would buy one now, it's like 3.5 or 4 grand in euros. And of course, that's very expensive, and we want to have these basses more accessible. So this is actually the same bass, the same configuration, the same pickups, even better pickups. They have improved the bridge pickup. It sounds a lot cooler now. And I mean, this is obviously the new California shape. They are lighter now. This is such a good bass. I got this a few days ago. I'm so excited about this. This is the cheapest, simplest version that you will be able to get, which will be around 2 grand. And I mean, obviously there will be a lot of demos in the next months when more and more of those models come out. But this is the very first. I'm super proud of it. I'm intending to keep this, even though I don't think this was the plan, but I'm super proud that there's a BassTheWorld bass from Sandberg now, and this is the first one, so why wouldn't I keep it? We're still figuring out a bunch of details, but more like cosmetical details. We want to have like a BassTheWorld thing on the back of the headstock, and I mean, you will hear lots of demos with those basses. So let's make this a little bit of a quick round, otherwise this video will go for 2 hours. 1969 Gibson EB2 in walnut. I mean, the lowest low end you've ever heard or played. One of the fattest necks I've ever had in my hand. Fantastic bass. You've heard it many times on the channel. This is one I bought a few weeks ago, which you haven't heard on the channel yet. This is the Epiphone, what's called the Czechosity or Czechosity? I don't know how it's pronounced. Just a fantastic bass, and I really love this red color, and they also have like a green bluish one right now, which are limited edition colors. So I finally pulled the trigger on one of those, and this is very interesting because it's the only long scale semi-acoustic bass I have, which sounds very different and very interesting, and I think it's actually, for what we're doing here, more useful than the Gibson, for example. So you will get to hear this bass a lot more often in the future. This is my favorite, actually, semi-acoustic bass. This is the Kai. I think they're called K162, exactly. Reissue from the early 2000s. I mean, they look ridiculous. They feel very weird. They have weird necks, but the sound of this bass is just magic. So we made a demo of this. Just find it and watch it. Then we have my 1978 Rickenbacker. I saw this like 1 or 2 years ago in like, again, one of those German Craigslist versions, and I immediately fell in love with it. I love black instruments, but this has all these zero mod things, like the new bridge, and you have the thumb rest here, and like the horseshoe thing is gone, and this is just like, it's an old Rickenbacker which looks almost unplayed and sounds amazing, and yeah, I'm super happy with this, that I finally have and Rickenbacker. I believe this is also a 78 Music Man Stingray, and again, I like black basses. That makes it obvious. This is a bass I wasn't even intending to buy, but I found this on eBay Kleinanzeigen. eBay actually runs Craigslist here in Germany, and this was supposed to be like a 3.7 or 3.8 kilo Stingray from the 70s, which is unheard of. I mean, those are usually very heavy. They are like 4.5 kilos. And I just couldn't believe that something like this exists. So I jumped in my car, drove there. And I mean, this one of the most expensive basses I've ever bought, but damn, is this good. I've owned a good bunch of Music Mans before. A Stingray from the same era. I had a Sterling, very nice one. I had a bongo, like a 4-string that you might have seen in the last months. But this one just blows all of them away, and this is like the Music Man sound for recording that I love. And yeah, I'm so glad we have one of those now. The next bass is, I'm a little bit on a 50s P-bass trip right now. That's because of my band, where I started out playing a P-bass, but at some point I wanted to have something with a single coil, but not really a jazz bass. I mean, I love neck pickups of jazz bass, that's my main sound, but I want to have like a chunkier neck, so I got one bass and then I bought this one, but I will show the other one later. But this is basically like a copy of a Capronita bass. We have this TV Jones pickup in here, which is just, there's more low end and more fatness than these regular 50s P basses. Really cool bass, but I figured out that actually the single coil thing works better for me. So I just wanted to try this out because the single coils were a little too thin. I thought maybe this works. I mean, it's really cool, but at the end the single coils rule for me. So this is a French bass. I think those are from Switzerland. I don't know too much about the company. I just bought this used, and it's a really cool bass. So we had the Sandberg. Here's the other BassTheWorld signature bass from Alice Visual out of the Czech Republic. Fantastic P-bass. I mean, we've reviewed this a bunch of times. Just watch those videos. It's very light. It sounds fantastic. It's super versatile when it comes to sounds. You can use it in rock bands. It also has a very nice warmth and slowness for those like more vintage P-bass sounds. And I mean, this is just the dream of a P-bass. There's the prototype, and here's my F-bass. What's it called? VF? It's not on here. VFP, I think, or so it's the series. It's a 5-string P-bass from F-bass out of Canada. They built this for me many years ago, and this really cool root beer brown finish, which I love. And this is actually for playing live my main bass, because you often need 5 strings, and this is just such a fantastic sounding and playing bass. It's my go-to when I'm not exactly sure what to do or what to expect, and this bass covers all the grounds. Then we have the new Darkglass ETH 500. You've probably seen the demo. It just came out a couple of weeks ago. The new Darkglass head with effects built in. And this is the DG212 cabinet, which is like we use most of the time to make pedal demos on top of it. But I mean, I love this cabinet, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I have those. This is a bass. I mean, you can look at it, but I will not tell you what it is. It's a bass. I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. So let's just skip this. So now we are in the area that you only ever get to see in the background of our videos, because this is like the background. This actually, the whole thing is about to change. Like the whole room is about to change in a few months. This will all disappear. I'm not sure where it will go, but it has to go. But however, let's talk about it. Up here, this is the B filter by, there's a picture of my daughter. Let's remove that. This is the B filter by Electro Harmonix, one of the coolest envelope filters ever made. 2 sections with an LFO built in, really cool. Right up here is always my stock for pedals that are need to be prepared. This is a triggered filter from Electro Harmonix, a vintage filter. Here's some Lego for some reason. So this is my Kelly bass from Mayons. We reviewed this many years ago. It's really cool. It's just like the upper octave of a bass, basically. This is the 12th fret of a regular bass, and you have all the like 24 more frets, so it goes an octave higher than a regular bass. It's a fun travel, fun high-end, fun bass. I don't know. It's fun. Let's leave it here. Boss Vasa Air system. I love this. This goes in your bass. This is the headphones, connects directly. This is actually when I'm sitting down in the evening and just trying something out on bass. I'm using this now. I mean, this is just so convenient. It's so nice. I love this. The Neutron biphase, the weirdest, biggest phaser ever made. 2 phaser sections. It's completely wild. We've demoed this. Just look for the Neutron episode that we did 2 years ago. You will love it. So this is also one of the bases or items that I've bought purely because they look cool and I want to have them in the background of videos because they're cool. This is a Gregor Flying V bass. There are some issues. It sounds amazing, but there are some issues. There's a whole episode about this, and no, it's a light stand right now. I know it's sad, but what am I supposed to do? Pedals. Oh no, let's start here. So this is actually like a shelf kind of thing where we have all the parts and things we need for recording or just for running the studio here. It starts with strings. It's just a whole box of all kinds of strings, mainly from DR. Those are the main company I'm working with. I love those strings, but I mean, I'm working with them. I'm still buying the strings which are perfect for basses. So except for my band basses, I'm using those slinkies because we tune down to D. And these kind of, I mean, there's every kind of string in here that we could need for different situations. Camera, microphones, not really interesting. Those are all the bass cables, a lot more of those. Rheingold, some other cables that we might need for different things. XLR, TRS cables. Headphones might be interesting. Here's another set of those ATH M50s. I mean, there's a few more of those in here. I mean, sometimes we are recording with 3-4 people. Everyone needs headphones, obviously. So when you're running a studio, you need a few more of those. Speaker cables. Then we have power cables and make power longer again, which are power extensions, obviously. And now, this is the most fun part, I think, about the studio. So let's dive into it. Those are my pedals, or at least those you haven't seen yet. We need to make this a quick round. I can't say something about all the pedals because we're just running out of time. And this is not even like the only one. So let's just get started. Replicator, a real tape echo in a pedal. Fascinating, sounds amazing. I mean, so good. Darkglass element, headphone preamp, tube amp thing. Okko Coca Comp, one of my favorite compressors. The Acme Motone DI, absolutely fantastic to record something like this Gibson bass, which has way too much low end. Then we have a bunch of like reamping. I mean, this is the box for like preamps and recording stuff. Exotic X blender, super important for vintage pedals to create an extra loop, and so you're able to mix them with a tri-signal. I have two of those, two of the most important tools I find in the studio. Carbon copy delay from MXR. Fantastic. If you want to have an analog delay, this is where to get started. Sounds absolutely fantastic, and then you can go from there to more advanced and difficult things, but this is a fantastic pedal to get started with delay. Torpedo Captor X from 2 Notes is, we've reviewed this. This is basically a power attenuator. You go in with your tube amp, it burns actually the power of the tube amps and adds a digital cabinet. Sounds fantastic. It has tons of options. I'm using a digital version of this as a software in my computer as a plugin. But when you're working with real amps, then this is the way to go. Lightning pedal, or the light pedal from Game Changer Audio. Super wild spring reverb with some optical. I mean, we made a demo, watch it. This is one of the coolest reverb pedals ever made. The Goliath from WR out of Belgium, I think. Just a fantastic tube preamp, and this is one of those that you use if you want to have like a, I don't know, it's similar to this Black Label 64 pedal that we had before. It's just one of those nice warm tube sounds, and I love this in front of a Glockenklang to make the Glockenklang kind of a tube amp. Works very well. Then we have, this is the delay I was talking about if you want to get more advanced. This is Endangered Audio Researcher EAR 804096MK2. The crazy good pedal. It's completely analog. It has the craziest sounds built in there, like tons of expression pedal possibilities and fascinating pedal. Kaleidoscope reverb from Jupiter FX, also super wild. Another one of those X blenders, and this is actually the first complex delay I've ever owned, the Nova delay from TC Electronic, which I just bought back like 1 or 2 years ago after not having it for many time, just because I believe I think the dynamic and the reverse sounds in here are so good. I just want to have them available when we are doing stuff here. So that's the shelf for recording stuff, space and time, and preamps. So now let's go to Drive, Synth, and Octave. A little bit more exciting, I would reckon. MXR Distortion Plus doesn't work for bass. Don't try it. I mean, try it, but it doesn't work for bass. This is really cool. What's the company called? Damn. Who does? Mastro Valvola. This is a mix of a filter and an octaver and a fuzz. We've demoed this recently. Super cool pedal. Might end up on my recording or band board. We will see. This is super cool. Oh, here's the big muff I didn't show before. This is the Ram's Head version. This is basically version 2, and also my favorite. I mean, I have a bunch of favorite big muffs. This is one of the ones. Then we have there's so many. The Rattler from Jam Pedals, perfect copy of the Red, which is very advanced, I would say. I mean, this is an original Red. Usually they are black. This is a limited edition version in yellow. This is basically the same pedal, just with a mix control with a second gain stage, and it's optimized for bass, which is great. Then Okko, German company, Eastern Germany. That's where I live. That's where my heart is. Great guy. This is the BassTheWorld. This is his bass distortion, which I used to use all the time, like 10-15 years ago. This is one of the very first, I believe, that was made, and I know it's actually the second version. There was an earlier version, but when those came out, this is one of the first ones, and this is just a perfect drive in front of a Glockenklang. It just does exactly what you want in combination with such an high-end super clean amp. Game Changer Audio again. This is the Plasma Coil, one of the wildest distortion pedals ever made. Distortion is created with this tube with gas in here. It's with xenon gas in here. It's super wild. It sounds, I mean, it's amazing. Watch the demo. I mean, most of the pedals, this is the cool thing, because this is a YouTube channel. Most of the things I'm showing you, there's a demo on the channel. So if you're interested in something, just search it on the channel. This is the pedal I wish Darkglass had made, kinda. This is a mean thing to say, but this is definitely on the level where Darkglass pedals exist, and it's super interesting. It's a fascinating high-gain distortion preamp recording type of thing with two different outs, one for clean, one for distortion, clean is super compressed, and when you blend those together, it's just a match made in heaven. Bass Butler from Orange. I love this pedal. Absolutely amazing. EBS Octabass, very first version of the Octabass. This one's broken, but sounds super cool. That's why I'm not fixing it, so it's here. Then we have the Foxy Tone Machine from Warm Audio. This is a copy of the Fox Tone. Was it Fox Tone box? It's not tone. I don't know what the original is called. It looks very similar. This is a wild fuzz. It's super fat, super saturated down there. It's an octa fuzz, but you can switch off the octa fuzz option. And I just ordered this to try it out, and I loved it that I kept it. Actually, I just wanted to send it back and just try it out, but it's just too good. Here's another original red. This is actually an old one from the 70s, so those are supposed to sound better. I mean, come on, guys. The reds are all sound the same. They all sound fantastic. I probably will get some shit for saying this, but I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, we will get to the OC2s and then we will talk about this again. There's a lot of people who just want to hype old stuff because it's rare and expensive, and it's not actually better, at least in my opinion. Solid Gold FX Lysis, really cool. I don't even know what it is. It's a fuzz. It's a filter synth fuzz modulator. It's called. It's a weird pedal. But it's super cool. It does a lot of crazy sounds. We demoed this just a few months ago. Definitely watch this out. Check this out. Super cool. Here's another Solid Gold FX. This was on my band board for the past few weeks, but it just came off because I think this will also go on the studio board. It's a brutal fuzz. It's a gated fuzz, but it's fantastic, and I love those faders. I love this design. Really cool. This super weirdo, with definitely the weirdest pedal that I own. It's a fuzz with a, I don't even know what it is. It just sounds weird, but it's super cool. It's a glitchy pedal. I mean, it's made to make this weird sounds. I mean, this is what they're going for, and they don't even like give names to the controls. You just have to figure out what it is. There's just a sun and a broken heart and whatever that means. Nobody knows what it means, but you just have to turn knobs and find out and find a spot. Funny pedal. Here's another one of those octa basses. This one works, so I had to get one that works. This is actually, I think, the pedal that comes closest to the Ampeg, which I love the most, which is my favorite octaver. And this is like a small pedal version that, I mean, it doesn't sound the same. It's not even too close, but I think when it comes to this neutral sound, which is not synth-like and just your bass, this is definitely in the same category. So those are really good. But it's the very first series. The later ones definitely sound different. So, C4 synth from Source Audio. I mean, the synth pedal of the last years. You should be aware of this. The hot tubes from Electro Harmonix. I will talk about this later. We will have another one of those. Then I will get more into what this is. What do we have here? The Red Mug from Jam Pedals. This is also a big muff from Jam Pedals, improved version, also second gain stage, also mixed control. Fantastic pedal, is always on my board, except for right now, obviously. Then we have the Mutron Octave Divider. This is when you're looking for synth octave sounds, this is the one which does it the best, I think. It's a crazy pedal. It's really cool. Just watch the Musitronics episode we did. There, all the Musitronic pedals I own are in there. And of course we have OC2s. This is this is the very old version with the R. Also has a different color. This is actually an OC5. This is a new version, which also has like octave up things. And yeah, this is the thing we can talk about for a brief moment. This is supposed to sound better and to be better than the newer versions, which just are called octave and not octaver. Honestly, I don't hear a difference. Maybe if you play at a certain volume or in combination with other pedals, maybe there is something. But when you compare the pedals side by side, just like normal OC2s, I'm not talking about OC5, which is digital, but if you have different OC2s, I don't hear a difference. And everyone who says they do, you're full of, I mean, money and buy these things, obviously. So yeah, that's it. Next raw, modulation and filter pedals. Of course, let's start with the Mutron 3. Just the most legendary, the best envelope filter that exists, in my opinion, in most people's opinion who have tried those. If you speak German, actually, and you know Bonedo.de, which is like the biggest German gear testing site, they actually just reviewed this very pedal, my pedal, which should come out any moment now. So when this video comes out, you will be able to read this if you're interested. Then we have a Moog, or Moog, the ring modulator. Very weird, very interesting pedal, very special. It's something like this. Two of my favorite modulation pedals. This is the Maxon Flanger, the FL301. There are actually different versions of this. I have not tried the other ones, and there's also an Ibanez branded version of this pedal. But this flanger is just absolutely fantastic. Works perfectly for bass, and this is probably also my favorite phaser, the Phase 90 from MXR. This is like an old vintage version, this Script logo version, which are very rare and fantastic. Unfortunately, they don't have 9-volt in, so you have to use them with a battery or have to like route a cable in there or something like this. But again, fantastic pedal, and just for reference needs, I have this when I get phasers here. So okay, this is an original old Script logo Phase 90. Let's compare it to whatever phasers are built nowadays. This is a newer phaser from MXR, the Eddie Van Halen, which has a very nice bass boost or low mids boost. This works fantastic for bass. If you love phaser sounds or you're interested in them, this is one of the pedals I highly recommend to check out. This is the most, I mean, we had different best envelope filters. This is definitely the most useful envelope filter. This is the one that will go on the board. It has a little bit too many options for my personal taste, but the cool thing about this pedal is you switch it on, it sounds perfect immediately, no matter what's dialed in at this moment. I mean, you can dial things in and control all the parameters, obviously, but absolutely fantastic pedal. We've reviewed this, so, oh no, we haven't actually, but others might have, so you will find something. Piece of history, the Cork. Oh, there's a name, I've totally forgotten what it's called. The G5. It's just, I believe, one of the first bass synth pedals that ever existed, and this definitely is demoed, like a super old demo from like 8 years ago on our channel, but really cool old pedal. If you find one cheap, get it. There's a lot of cool sounds in there. Here's something I haven't really talked about yet because I kind of wanted to keep this a secret, but I guess the cat is out of the bag. There's a series of 3 different pedals from Digitech. I don't really like Digitech. I mean, it's not really a bass company, I mean, except for the Vemi, obviously, but all the other pedals. Never really been a fan until I discovered this. Those are modeling pedals that have different Vemi sounds in there. I also have an distortion pedal from this. I also have modulation with lots of different distortion modulation sounds. They sound fantastic. They sound very close to originals. And yeah, this is a cool series. Don't buy it. Chorus pedals. This is a vintage Dimension C from Boss. And this is a new Wasserkraft CE2. I mean, whenever you need a chorus pedal. Not too much in my case, but I mean, you gotta have something. More envelope filters. The WMD Super Fat Man with a built-in LFO that you can use if you like. It's super wild. There's a slight volume drop, which I find very annoying. That's why it's not on my bandboard. It was supposed to get on there, but we will use this in the studio as a fun pedal. And this is the C-Moon Funk Machine, which we have demoed. A wild envelope filter with very different sounds. Check this out if you're into different wild sounds. And the last 2 from this drawer. Oh, God. Everything's really good. The ADA Flanger, this is the reissue. This is considered like the best flanger. It's definitely the wildest flanger. Let's put it like this. There are sounds in there which are, I would love to see people use, and it's a super wild pedal, and yeah, I just want to have it as a reference because again, it's this one flanger pedal that everybody should know. And the Harmonious Monk from Jam Pedals, we just reviewed this. This is a tremolo. I love this pedal to pieces. Will definitely end up on one of the boards. Fantastic pedal. So, and the final last drawer. Next drawer is completely different, as you will see. This is dedicated to only one company, and that is my favorite company, and that is, of course, Electro Harmonix. And those are all vintage pedals, so let's go get on the knees. Dr. Q, I have it, I don't like it. I mean, it's an envelope filter, it's fine, but it's not the brightest hour from Electro Harmonix. Pulsar. When I was getting into tremolos, one of the ones, this is a newer pedal, I bought this for like $30, $40. It's not bad. I mean, it's not really good, but it's definitely also not bad, so that's fine. Big muffs. version 5, as I said before, this is the one where you can switch the tone off. This is the original. This is a nice clean version, and like when it comes to appearance. And this is, I don't know, it's kind of, I think it's the most brutal Big Muff, because you switch the tone off and then you have this open, in-your-face distortion sound, which when you EQ it a little bit sounds amazing, and I love this pedal, so incredible. Here's my most legendary Big Muff. This is the Rum's Head version 2. Those are super, super, super expensive. The only reason I own this is because someone added a 9-volt thing here, which is a sin, but I mean, it basically cut the price in half, so that's the only reason why I own this. Fantastic pedal. Let's get that out. Version 7, I've shown you the reissue before. This is the one the bass players like the most, because it has the most low end, and it looks like an old Russian tank, which was funny. It's not right now, but I mean, it will be again in a couple of years, so that's that. Same series, the small stone. This is the phaser, one of my favorite phasers. It has this huge, very phallic switch here, which is weird, but I mean, absolutely fantastic sounding, huge, fat, juicy phaser. Fantastic. This is a super rare small clone. This is a chorus. It looks like a chorus that every guitar player has in the drawer, but this is actually the mini version. This is I believe this is the first series. Those are super expensive. It's like a 500 euros pedal, which landed here. I believe the guy knew what he had, but he sold it for me in the package for only a little bit more than what this pedal costs with like 5-6 other pedals together, which was crazy deal. But I mean, now I have this and it sounds fantastic. Bad Stone, another phaser, which sounds a little bit more, subtle, I would say, compared to the small stone. I really like this a lot, actually. I would like to have the guy with there's a version with a head of a weird guy on there. I would like to have this one, but I mean, again, this one sounds fine. It's cool. The Zipper envelope filter, one of the strongest, fattest sounding envelope filters out there. It makes some very serious envelope opening actions, and when you combine this with a distortion, that's an absolute dream. I love this pedal. The octave multiplexer, weird octaver, doesn't work too well for bass, but this is for me what it makes fun. I mean, it's one of those glitchy octavers that isn't really able to follow what you're doing, but again, this is exactly what you want to have, just a weird sound. Qtron, I mean, built or designed by the same guy who made the Mutron from Musitronics, obviously, and fantastic, super funky, super fat. I like this a lot. And again, we made an episode with all the Electro-Harmonix envelope filters that I owned last year, 2 years ago. So watch this. What I didn't own back then, but I do now have, is the Qtron Plus, and this is super cool because it has an effects way. And when you put something like a distortion or octaver in there, it will also be triggered by the envelope in here, which is a lot of fun. It's worth having both, in my opinion. So let's get quicker. Graphic fuzz, cool pedal. It's a fuzz. The POC, the original octave up pedal, I believe. It's the first one that had these 2 octaves up. It has these detuned octaves, which now like all the octavers have. But yeah, this was like the pedal that in the 2000s allowed you to play organ sounds, like Hammond sounds on your guitar, on your bass. Fantastic. And now a pedal that you might have never seen before, except for the reissue that I showed you before. It's the Hot Tubes. This is the first pedal that was ever built, which was meant to emulate like a tube amp, and it sounds fantastic. I love it for bass. I love to mix it in like 50% with one of those exotic X blenders. I could have this in my pedal chain all the time. It's just such a big pedal. It's a little inconvenient. Here in the studio, it's not a problem, but of course, when you're playing in the band, it's a big pedal. But again, if you work in the studio, if you're recording a lot and you find this cheap, get one. This is actually a reversed color version. Usually they look different, but sometimes just Electro-Harmonix changed the print for just a few weeks or months, and yeah, actually this looks for some reason like this. The deluxe octave multiplexer, we had a multiplexer before. This one is combined with a fuzz. Frequency analyzer, another ring modulator, doesn't work as well as the Moog, I say. The Moog is a little bit more useful, but this is fun pedal, definitely. And then we have something very special. This is actually version 1 of the micro synthesizer. I mean, there's a bass micro synthesizer which you might be familiar with from Electro Harmonix. Still make it. This is actually the very, very first one they ever made, like for all the instruments. And I mean, I own like the second version, and I think this, I think that's the best sounding one. So yeah, that's that. Of course, it's super old. Polyphase. This is a phaser which is also triggered by an envelope. Very interesting. It sounds very funky, almost like an envelope filter, but it's in phaser. Really cool pedal. They also make a chorus, which I don't know if it's as interesting, but this is definitely super cool. And this is a wild pedal. I found this on eBay. Someone bought a Qtron, a mini Qtron, and just cut the pedal in half. I mean, the circuit board in there is very small. The pedals are way too big. So this is one that could potentially go on a pedal board someday. Oh, here's one more. Here we have the last Electro Harmonix, is the muff fuzz. It's not really a big muff, it's also a distortion. It sounds really cool, but obviously it's not really a pedal. This is something you put on your amp and then it lives there. I do realize that all of this is a little bit insane, and that this is definitely way too much gear. But I mean, that's my thing. I mean, since I'm young, since I can think, I've always put every buck I made into music gear. Since I got my first money from a paper route when I was like 14, this straight went into guitars and pedals back then, and this is just the stuff that accumulated over the years. And since of course I have this YouTube job, I get stuff all the time, and lots of these things stay here. So that's how this happens. Obviously not the vintage pedals, but I mean, this is my hobby. So there's still one thing I haven't shown you yet, and this is actually Studio B. Let's go there for the very first time. And B actually stands for bedroom. Yes, my actual bedroom. This is, I'm living at this place here. So this is not just my studio. This is actually, I'm living here with my kids. I will not show them to you because they're kids, but if they're grown up, I guess they will appear at some point on the channel. So there's a few more basses in here. So let's go in there. Let's just start here. This is the bass I was talking about earlier. This is the one I'm using as a main bass in my band. It's a bass bass out of Poland. It's called the Hornet. 50s P-bass. I don't know. They're very inexpensive. They're very well made. The neck is super, super fat and chunky, but it just plays fantastic. And this is kind of my new jazz bass thing. It's like a neck pickup from a jazz bass, just with a fat neck, and it's fantastic. I love this. Here we have, there will be a review very soon. This is not my bass, it's a FGN, what's it called? Something, I forgot what it's, Mighty Jazz, it's called, with EMG pickups. I mean, there will be a review very soon. Cool bass. This is my Adamovich Hollow 33 prototype bass. Actually, it's not a 33. I mean, this is what the series is called now. This was made years earlier, before the Hollows came out, and this is actually a 34-inch bass, 6-string fretless. Frank plays it, Lars plays it, I play it. Not for you, but yeah, but those guys for you. It's fantastic bass. We've talked about this before. You should know it. Another Adamovich Saturn with a holly top, super light bass, weighs nothing. Absolutely amazing, very high professional, high-end jazz bass. Fantastic bass. And Ibanez, very affordable, but sometimes when we do affordable, like Harley Benton videos, sometimes you want to use not all the high-end basses, just something cheap or what normal people buy. And this is the SR600E from Ibanez, which was given to me after we reviewed this because I loved it so much, so I was allowed to keep it, which I'm still very thankful for, because this is a fantastic bass, sounds great. I mean, those necks are always amazing from the sound gears, so yeah, it's one of those. Because I am how and who I am, this is another bass bass. I need a second one because I don't want to bring my stuff back and forth all the time to the rehearsal room. I need one of those at home because it's in a different tuning than all the studio basses here. And so yeah, this is number 2. Different pickup, different bridge. We tried some different things out. I actually like the other one a little bit better, but we will see how that whole project goes. Then Music Box 8-string bass. Fantastic. The Momo signature. We demoed this. Check it out. Super cool. And now come 2 basses that I bought. This one here. This is Yamaha SBW 500. I bought this also because it looks super cool. I wanted to have one of those in the video background. But this actually turned out to be an absolutely fascinating and great sounding bass and great playability. We've used it many times in demos before, and recently I found one here in the UK for very little money in this really cool green color. I don't know what kind of green it is. It's not a surf green. However, I have 2 of those now for some reason. Here's another music box. The Space Ranger, you've probably seen this before on our channel. Really cool short scale, I flat ones on it. Sounds fantastic for all kinds of Motown, soul kind of sounds. Great bass. Let's get this back. And here again, all these K&M stands. Thank you, Koenig & Meyer, again for all of those stands. Harley Benton, super cheap bass. MB4, I love this so much that I kept it after the review. There's a new bridge on it because we made this KSM bridge review recently, but this is the one that we're using for Harley Benton amp videos and these kind of things, because why would you do in such a video with an expensive bass? Kayla, ukulele bass, you know those, great basses. Supra, what's it called? I've forgotten what it's called. It's a Supra bass, I don't know the model. Lots of Binga, lots of Ash. This is a guy who worked at Warwick, was obviously very much in love with Fodera basses, and this is kind of a Warwick Fodera love child. I think he actually bought woods from Warwick. This looks very much like a Warwick Bubinga using here. So he bought the woods that he could use them at home and build his own stuff, and this is absolutely fantastic. Has a Mike Pope preamp in here, just like a Fodera. Such a good bass, such an amazing high end and top end, and we're using this all the time for metal stuff because it has EMGs, but also when we want to highlight like insane top end for overtones, then this is just the best bass that I own for these kind of things. And now I actually own 2 guitars. I used to be a guitar player. Just a Strat whenever we need a Strat. Sometimes René is here. He plays guitars. He likes to record like all these intro sounds that we do. He likes to record them sometimes here, and then we need a guitar, or I need a guitar for. I've played this in a demo before, and this is actually I used to be a classical guitar player. I learned this as a kid. This used to be my guitar, Höfner HC27. Not very interesting to you. This should be it, but unfortunately there's 2 more places to go, so let's go over there for a quick moment. So here we have this shelf, which is just like you need a place to store things. This is my place to store things, and I made it look a little bit prettier. So we have, this is the board I was talking about for the pedal board project coming up. Here all the gig bags for all the light stuff. We have tons of stands, like all the Koenig & Meyer stuff. And we have a bunch of interesting things, which I can show you that will be in videos very next time. Empress bass compressor, super clean, super cool. K&A upright bass pickup, I don't know. Lars will bring his upright, we will try it out. Dogal Hellbox strings, super fascinating strings. Very special, very different, but very, very interesting. It's kind of a reinvention of the bass string. It's super interesting. Check it out. First watch the video. Here's a whole thing with straps. So yeah, these are kind of things that you need in a studio. Lots of microphone stands and these kind of things. Bags up here. I have a separate storage for all the bass cases, but yeah, all the bags that I need, like most of the time during the weeks to go somewhere with basses, those are here. And one more thing is on this side, and then we are almost through. So yes, again, I'm a little bit embarrassed that it still wasn't it, but we have a few more pedals, I guess. So let's check those out. This is kind of my storage place where I have the pedals that I don't really use or need in the studio, but for some reason still have, because we might need them for future projects, or they're just really cool, but I don't really need them. Gensler stuff, 4 on the floor on the ReQ pedal. We made reviews of those. This is a really cool custom shop jam pedals, Red Mug. Let me get this out of the casing real quick. Really cool. They sent it to me like last year or so. What do we have? KMA. I can't show this to you yet. Sorry. This is not out yet. Actually, when you watch the video, it just came out. It comes out next week. New KMA Octaver. The one with the really weird name, which I have forgotten already. And it's not written on here. Quick was it. MXR Phase 45. I've showed you the Phase 90 out there. This is the 45, which I don't like as much. That's why it's living here. I might sell it, but this is I mean, I've tried to sell it a bunch of times, but it's super expensive, so this is something very special. But if you're interested in an extremely clean Phase 45 with box, hit me up, but please come with realistic prices. Another bedstone, because you need two, I guess. The eye box, not so interesting. A Fender phaser, which looks cooler than I find it fascinating, so that's that. We have another box. This is now comes the crazy box. This is not so crazy, but it's here. This is another red mug, which I have for another board. I have a lot of pedals. I mean, when I have pedals that are really important to running this whole thing here, then I have them twice, because why not? MPEG Up Blaster. This is actually the reissue. The one of my pedal board was an original from the 60s. Those were made later. Sounds a little bit different. The box looks a little bit different, but yeah, same pedal basically. Original effects. Another Kali 64. I mean, we had one of those before. Then we have, this is really cool. Novelty, I believe those are from the UK. And this is the Jaco, the Fuzz. It's basically the acoustic amp that Jaco played, like the overdrive preamp section, what built in there into a pedal. It's a really nasty fuzz. Has one or two sweet spots which are really cool, but yeah, I mean, this is a nasty fuzz. And here's a pedal which I own for, I guess, for collector reasons. This is a tone bender. I'm not even getting it out here. The Boss tone bender, very limited pedal. Those are just the ones that you leave in your shelf and never touch. And maybe 20 years later you can, I don't know, go on a nice vacation or something. You're almost through? Almost through. I need to make some space. OC2, another OC2. We have another small stone, which doesn't sound as good as the one out there. Big Muff version 3. Very creamy one. We have the Workbench, which is the weirdest effing chorus ever made. It's a chorus that doesn't even make sense. That probably shouldn't exist just for security reasons, but it does, and it's fun. We have an Electro Harmonix bass balls. I mean, it's a fun envelope filter that I don't really need that much. Ibanez, very cheap BC5 chorus. It's fine. This is the distortion I was talking about earlier, the Distortion Factory from Digitech, and somewhere we should also have the third one. This is a Russian envelope filter from Russia. I bought it from Russia a couple of years ago. It's a really weird pedal, but I mean, it looks really cool. I will donate this to Josh from JHS at some point in my life, because he connects all these crazy pedals. Lucy Tremor from Jam Pedals, which is basically a Tube Screamer version of them. Very great pedal. We reviewed this before. I kept this in case we ever make a cheap board episode. How do I open this? Maybe you remember this review. It's a super cheap pedal for 30-40 bucks. It's a fantastic preamp with distortion and DI. I mean, at some point we will make a cheap board and this will be on it. This is the Chorus Factory. This is the modulation pedal I was talking about. What else do we have? This is just a foot switch, a red. Like a current Big Muff, because when you have all the old ones, you kind of want to compare them to the current one. And here, the nicest one of all of them, another Big Muff. This is I think the tall font version. The other was the bubble font that I had out there. And I mean, there's a few more things in here which are not really interesting. And we are finally getting to the very last. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is all ridiculous. Please save me from myself. Big Muff version 4, fantastic. Also with the switch, but in this case it's just a regular on and off switch for the pedal. Another version 5. This one, I got this really cheap because it looks really nasty, but this is the dirtiest, coolest sounding version 5 Big Muff I have ever heard. So there's a good reason for it to exist in this realm. Version 6, not my favorite. It's kind of I would use it like if I was guitar player for punk rock stuff probably, but yeah, I mean, if you want to compare them, you want to compare an MXR graphic equalizer. Oh, some nice stuff here. The Meat Box from DoD, the original old one. The meanest octaver that has ever been made. It will destroy your bass amp and DPA and all your friendships with your co-musicians. So yeah, that's that pedal. Very important to have a bass player. There are more of those, which I wasn't really aware of. This is a bass grunge from DoD also. I need to try this on a tube amp. I don't really like it in a line signal or in front of my Glockenklang, but maybe it works in front of a tube amp. Like the grunge pedal from DoD is legendary for guitar, so when I saw this bass version, I had to get it. The Deluxe Big Muff, it's a big muff with a built-in compressor. Not my favorite. It's a hot tubes, but I have the box. And the crazy thing is, which nobody understands, this is also one of those reversed finished ones with the same finish, which is kind of impossible to have two of those in the same place, but for some reason there is. Oh, we're getting close. Big Muff, the Russian one, like version 8 is that, like the black Russian one, which are not as collectible as the green ones, but still very cool pedals when you like high gain distortion. Another octave multiplexer. I mean, we had this before. Oh yeah, micro synthesizer. This is actually the version 2 I was talking about. Main difference is, I mean, they look a little bit different, but version 1 had a switch on this side. This is, if you want to quickly see at what version you're looking, then always check this out, where the switch is. The version 1 has the switch on the left side. Yeah. And the final and last pedal, which I love, the Deluxe Electric Mistress, a flanger from Electro Harmonix. Holy cow, what a ride. I'm not sure what we just did here. It's a super long video. I just realized I have way too much stuff I really need to clean out and maybe sell some basses and buy some pedals, or the other way around. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following us. I hope you enjoyed this, even if it just displayed my insanity, but here we are. Thanks for watching if you stick through the whole thing. Thanks for following our channel for so many years and supporting us. And I mean, I would hug you all if you, I wouldn't, but I will wave at you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with us. And I guess let's see what the next 10 years will bring, or the next 100 million views if you are able to achieve this again. Thanks for sticking with us, and bye-bye. Good.